Hey guys, I'm Kelly and my co-host is Amber, and welcome to the Brown Girls Guide podcast. Yes, we know that we were MIA last week. It was just a crazy week and we couldn't get this episode done and out in time. But we're back and today we're discussing a topical issue that's often in the media.
Hi guys. Yes, so sorry we were missing last week, but sometimes you need to give yourself a break when you need one. And trust me when I say we both really just needed one.
Yeah.
But like Kelly said, we are back. The topical issue this week, it's all about women's rights, which we love to talk about. And it's about our right to make our own decisions about our bodies and not let governments and other people in so-called power police our bodies.
So true. We know it's a bit of a heavy topic, but it's just something that we are keen to discuss because, wow, look at what's happening in America and in Texas. And yes,
the land of the free nogal.
Yeah, not really though. Not really. And we know that in South Africa, it's very, very different. And our constitution is actually really forward thinking, at least in theory, but it doesn't stop others from thinking that they can police our bodies and talk about being pro-life.
Yes, it's definitely a heavy topic for today, but it's certainly something that we should always discuss. But before we jump into it, let's just check in. Kelly, how's everything? And more importantly, what are you drinking today?
More importantly, on the more important matter, I'm drinking a good old Checkers Oddmans, a Cabernet, which is actually quite delish. And in general, I'm okay. I can't say that I'm like fantastic, not because anything like bad is happening. I'm just really tired. A lot's going on, so I'm just quite tired. I also think it's that time of year, so I'm just going with it. Life's good. Work's good. It's just really busy, and I'm just tired. But how are you, Amber? And also, more importantly, what are you thinking?
I'll start with the most important thing. Today, I'm having a gin and tonic, and I have some freshly squeezed grapefruit juice in there with some mint. I was feeling a bit bougie.
Yum.
Yes, I made a good little cocktail. Today was a day for me. As you know, Kelly, just for context, my internet has been acting up since June, and it's just this like never-ending frustration. But I feel way better now that, I have my gin in my hand and we're chatting. But I'm good. I'm good in general. Much better than last week. Last week was just super hectic. There was so much going on. But I went into this week way more positive. So that's a good thing.
We move, we move.
We move.
Okay, so now that we are both ready to dive into this tough discussion, let's get into it. Amber, I'm just going to ask you straight out, what is your stance on abortion?
Okay, so my stance on abortion has always been pro-choice. I personally believe that anyone who falls pregnant has the right to do with their body as they see fit or what they feel works for them. And I don't know where this belief came from because I don't particularly have, I wouldn't say my family or the environment I grew up in is pro-choice. I think I kind of made my mind up by myself about it. I just always was not very bothered by what other people are doing with their own bodies. So for me, 100% pro-choice. Whatever you feel works for you, I fully support that. And what's your stance on it?
I am very much the same. Also, I have no idea where it came from because I don't remember anyone actually having this discussion openly. But I just suspect that we were raised in an environment where we were told that it's our body, our choice. So, and therefore we feel that way about everyone. And I honestly don't understand how people can want to dictate what women want to do with their bodies. Women aren't getting abortion because it's fun or, whatever. They are getting them because their health is at risk or the baby's life is at risk or because they were raped and now they have to carry a baby as a result. It's not for funsies. Women do not make this decision lightly, and I can't imagine how tough it must be to actually decide to terminate the pregnancy. But so many so-called conservative people are all like pro-life when actually they are pro-birth because they don't care what happens to the life of the baby after the mother actually gives birth.
Exactly. And I think before we carry on, we should also just address that the idea that abortion is done out of necessity or out of like a traumatic frame of mind. Like, yes, sometimes people do have abortions because of, sexual assault or health risks, but a lot of the time people just don't want babies. And that's fine. In my life personally, I know quite a few people who have had abortions and it wasn't ever, thank goodness, it wasn't ever a result of, trauma. It was just because they made the best choice for themselves at the time, whether we were still studying or if they were in a phase in their lives where they were career driven or they just didn't want a baby. And it doesn't have to be a justifiable reason, for you and I to better digest the idea of terminating a pregnancy. It doesn't have to be a somber or depressing thing or something you sit and think about for days and days. It's actually quite liberating to make that decision. And if you don't want to be pregnant, that's okay. You don't have to justify it.
That's actually so true. And I often think that you don't have to be comfortable with the idea of abortion in order to be pro-choice. You just have to support the idea that people can make their own decisions about what they want to do when they find out that they are pregnant. The reason for them making that decision should be irrelevant. You should just be happy with the fact that they can make their own choices. And I think it's important for people to know the laws when it comes to this in South Africa. And as I mentioned before, we are a pretty forward-thinking country when it comes to this, which is amazing. In America, if you live in Texas especially, you can't actually get an abortion after 6 weeks. And many people don't even know that they are pregnant at this stage for various reasons. And they aren't able to access any safe abortion options until after the 6-week window has passed. And thankfully, that is just not the case in South Africa.
Yeah, thankfully, it's not the case here. And like you said, at least in theory, we are protected and the law is on our side. So just to get technical, in your first trimester, you are allowed to terminate your pregnancy without providing any reason. So that's where I think the majority of terminations lie. But, as you go further into your pregnancy, you'll have to have some sort of medical reason or a doctor will have to perform it. So it gets more technical. But if you find out early on, I'd be under 13 weeks, then you can just go to your local clinic. So it's also very helpful that we can get abortions for free. You can go to your local government clinic and they will help you and they will refer you to get the procedure done. If you choose the tablet or if you choose the surgical one, it's completely up to you. And there's also, the private places like Marie Stopes, which I'm sure most girls know about because I learned about it as a joke, as teenage boys would make fun of us going to Marie Stopes. And then later on in life, I learned that it's such an amazing resource and center for women to go to, not just for abortions, but just for your overall health. They provide just the best range of services to women. But I don't think it makes it easy for women, though, because we have so many cultures, but across most of them, there is a stigma attached that abortion is wrong. And I know we don't have to share it with anyone if we're pregnant and want to, but, there's still that fear and that guilt. But at least we do know those resources are available to us if we need it.
Yeah, and there isn't a lot of good that we can say about our government in general. But yes, we do have to admit that this is something that they are doing right. They are making it easier for women to get abortions. And taking away the ease of abortion doesn't actually stop people from getting them. It just makes it less safe as people will seek other ways to terminate the pregnancy. We've all seen the flyers that says that a random person will do your abortion for you. And it's not safe. It's just people will seek out very dangerous ways to get rid of a pregnancy if they don't want it. But you are right, there is a stigma attached to it and women are embarrassed or ashamed as a result. And I personally don't know of anyone who's had an abortion, but that doesn't mean that no one I know has had one. It just means that people aren't openly talking about it. And it's a shame because women all over the country can actually benefit from knowing that they are not alone in making this tough decision.
Of course,
And even up until recently, there wasn't really a list of places that people could go to get abortions. But now, like you mentioned, we have clinics across the country that offer safe abortions for free. And there's a platform called Bekasisa that has a searchable map for anyone needing an abortion. And I'll leave the link in the show notes of the episode and on our social media platforms. It's actually also just a great health resource in general.
That is a really great resource to have. I mean, I can't imagine us having a platform like that 10, 15 years ago. So that's amazing. And, many young girls and women just don't even know the process of getting an abortion, making it even harder to go through with it. I'm just thinking the only reason I know is because I've accompanied people to go and terminate their pregnancies before. And that's how I learned about it. Life orientation, I always drag the school system, but in LO, they're so quick to tell you, if you have sex, you'll get AIDS and die. There isn't any practical way to tell us to navigate when these things do happen because some people will fall pregnant. And if you don't want to have a baby, you don't have to have it, but we don't learn about these things. And a lot of the time when you are a younger woman and you go into for example, if you can't afford a place like Medistopes and you do rely on a government clinic, it can be a bit overwhelming, having to figure this out for yourself, where to go, when to go. You don't know that you need a referral letter, so you're standing there a bit confused. So it just is a bit frustrating that we still don't openly talk about this. But if this is you or someone you know, I would say that as a first step for anyone considering abortion is to just first consider your free resources. Even if you just Google or ask a trusted family friend, a lot of the time when we go to family doctors, some women or young girls will feel a bit intimidated because you have one family doctor together. And more than one time I've experienced a very close person to me who approached their doctor and they would just say, no, I won't help you because I know your family, which is wrong and just...
That's illegal.
It's insane, but this does sometimes happen. I know from personal experience it does happen. But they are required by law to present you with options. But sometimes when they present you with this confrontational or negative, response, you don't really feel like you can talk to them about it, which is unfortunate. But if you do have a supportive doctor, which is amazing, they will be able to refer you. They'll be able to help you with the whole process. But no one, just so you know, no one can outright refuse to give you the information you need or turn you away. It's just your decision if you would like to consult with them or how you would like to find your information.
Yeah, I'm shocked to learn that there's a doctor out there, and probably more than one, that will just outright refuse and say, no, I know your family. I clearly love the very shocked.
You would be surprised.
But yes, for sure. Chat to your friends and family and people you trust. And if you have a doctor you trust, please do reach out to them. And if they themselves if they don't feel comfortable just being involved in abortions, they are required to refer you to a colleague who will be able to assist you. And also just look for online support groups. There are Facebook groups that are dedicated to supporting women who are about to go through or have gone through an abortion. You can also seek any professional mental help if you need it before and after the procedure, because it is a life-changing event. So having added support in this way could be a huge help. And also, if you just Google, like you said, you'll also find that the Department of Health has some really good resources on their website about this. As always, we'll leave these resources in the show notes and on our socials. We just want every woman, anywhere, to have easy access to safe abortions if they need it. But we also just hope for a world in which talking about abortions and women's rights to make their own choices is normal.
Exactly. And like Kelly said, if you even go on the Department of Health, or like we are based in the Western Cape, if you go on the government's website for Western Cape, they give you a literal step-by-step guide on how to get an abortion. It tells you about the medical one, the surgical one. It tells you exactly where you can go. It even links you to like the Medistopes centers, and also links to the different clinics where you can make an appointment. And there's like instructions saying, how do you access this? You need your ID, you need the referral letter, you need any medication you're taking. So they've made it so much more accessible and so much easier for women or pregnant people, should I say, who need to have an abortion. And they even have a video about terminating a pregnancy, which I would have loved to see when I was younger. I am fortunate that I didn't ever have to go through the process of terminating a pregnancy, but I think just seeing a video, seeing a healthcare professional talking about it in such a, informative and friendly manner takes away this, scary thought about it. Abortion is healthcare. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's healthcare. And people shouldn't feel like you have to search on the freaking dark web or something for information. There's nothing shameful about it at all. And I think that's why we chose this topic today. We wanted to start a conversation about abortion and, at the very least, have this episode be a resource or a starting point for people who need it. And we always want to be a safe space where people can speak openly about tough topics. And I think this is definitely one of those.
Very much so. And just thank you for everyone who continues to listen along with us. We do appreciate the support, and just thank you for making us feel comfortable enough to have these conversations on our podcast.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for listening. And thank you so much again for the support. And as always, you can contact us and reach out to us via email and social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Brown Girls Guide Pod and on Twitter at BGG Pod. And if you want to get in touch, you can email us on info@browngirlsguide.co.za.
For sure. And until next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.